You could look at it as 100 grand cost, but the way I'd look at it is saying, well, look, if I've put the right people in that situation, the business that I'm either going to have done or have the ability to do should be well in excess of the cost of actually putting it on in the first place. And if it isn't, then that's really my fault and my failure. And I always find it quite a hard thing to, let's say, to put my finger on and explain in terms of how to do it or how to do it better. I mean, 100%, I'll always say that all of my successes, or certainly the vast majority of them in business, come from relationships. Whether that's getting an investor because of a relationship, or being introduced to a borrower because of a relationship, or being able to meet the right members of staff, or even into your personal life of having great relationships, with the right friend, or with your girlfriend or your wife or your kid, or whatever that may be. But then I also find it hard to say, well, how do you build those relationships? And I guess, well, everyone has to know in themselves, I guess, what you like, who you get on with, and how do you build that rapport and how do you build that connection? I mean, I actually was having this conversation the other day with someone a bit before you guys got out here, and he was saying, well, how do you build a relationship with a dick? How do you, get on with someone that you don't get on with? And my only answer to him really was, you can't win everyone. I mean, if someone is a dick, then the chances are I'm not going to want to build a relationship with them. Now, I may be in a more fortunate position now because, let's say I've got X amount of scale and X amount of money, so that I don't need to deal with the people that I don't want to deal with. But even so, I guess we all still have our price. If there was someone who was a total dick, but always had the opportunity to do a very, very substantial multi-million-pound deal with them, then obviously I'm gonna put my preferences to one side and try and get on with them. But I think for me it's finding people who you want to do business with, or you want to build a relationship with because you think that you'll be able to benefit each other. Then assessing whether or not you do genuinely like each other and can build a relationship, and then just be normal. Now, I guess we're talking about this this here in Ibiza, and I think that ultimately you have to invest in relationship building. Now, whether that's an investment in time or an investment in money, it's impossible to build the great relationships without that investment. I guess to a degree as well, it almost depends. The more you're willing to invest, maybe the deeper and the quicker the relationships can be. But I think if you're building the relationships with the right people, and you've targeted those people properly in the first place, then the ROI on any investment you make, should make it an investment as opposed to being a cost. Coming here for a couple of weeks, and having people here and doing the things we do, you could look at it and say, well, that's a phenomenal cost. Now whether that's and we can contextualize this to anything, whether you're spending 10 grand, 20, 30, 40, 50, 100 grand, you could look at it as 100 grand cost. But the way I'd look at it is saying, well, look, if I've put the right people in that situation, the relationships that I'm going to have built by the end of that 2 weeks, the business that I'm either going to have done or have the ability to do should be well in excess of the cost of actually putting it on in the first place. And if it isn't, then that's really my fault and my failure.